Xset came into Apex Legends Global Series Year 4 as one of the favorites to potentially dethrone TSM and Dark Zero and become only the third team to hoist a trophy. This reputation was built from multiple factors, including their previous 3 top 5 finishes on LAN, as well as back-to-back top 2 finishes in the best region in the world, North America's Pro League. To cap it all off, after the departure of the fragger Sykes to rivals Dark Zero, they ended up picking up rising star Koifel, who despite having never played in Pro League before, had just finished top 10 in kills at the ALGS Championship with Sentinels. Many, including myself, were expecting this roster, along with their coach Hodzic, to dominate the ALGS. Okay, my winner, I'm gonna say Xset, but at the end of Split 1, Xset was just outside looking in to the LAN qualification spots.
Carlos, haven't been in here in a long time. What's up, dog?
Welcome back to the reset, where today we're gonna explore why
How you doing, boss?
Xset failed to live up to expectations. If you enjoy ALGS content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps out more with the algorithm than you know. Also, make sure to follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, and check out my Patreon, links in the description. But first, what if I told you not only could you get a free legendary hero, but also a chance at winning a gaming console? Well, today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, are offering all of these prizes and more as a celebration of the arrival. Thing went wrong, which leads us straight into problem number 1. Season 19 was an interesting one for competitive Apex. With it, we saw the release of Conduit, a character that was a game changer in fights. Her Q ability was able to quickly take a teammate's broken shields and temporarily replace it. This completely changed contest and the pacing of fights as a whole, as a crack onto the opposing team, which previously would offer the opportunity for the inflicting team to push off the damage, could be immediately rectified by the Conduit Q, replenishing the cracked player's health and putting the teams back on even footing. Because of this strength and fights, Conduit was picked at about a 50% rate across Season 19 ALGS match days, with the meta comp being Bangalore, Catalyst, and Conduit. The main popular alternative, though, was adding a Horizon into the mix in place of Conduit or Catalyst. Xset fell into the camp of favoring the Conduit pick, so on Stormpoint, they ran a comp of Bangalore, Catalyst, and Conduit. On World's Edge, they would swap out the Catalyst for Horizon. This is pretty standard, but the Stormpoint comp led to a few glaring issues. In terms of roles, Conduit was best served as your anchor. That way she could use her Q on either teammate easily mid-fight from the back to ensure your frontliners can regen shields. So naturally, for Xset Fun, their typical anchor player will play Conduit. Meanwhile, their IGL Nocturnal, he's played Bangalore for years, so of course he's gonna stick on the bang. And this leaves Koifel to play Catalyst, which feels strange because Catalyst as a character is quite defensive. Her passive and Q can be used to hold a building, and her wall is great at carving out space to allow your team to breathe, which is quite the opposite of Horizon, who has very offensive-oriented abilities that enable you in fights. This matters because Koifel, being only 17 years old, has no previous Pro League experience. His rise to fame came from scrim moments, leading to Sentinels picking him up for champs, which built his reputation. So his actual comp experience, although at the highest level and an absurd showing of talent, was quite limited, and immediately
pause this real quick. Go close my door. Sean, hey!
thrown on a character who, so far in Apex, has filled a completely different role than what Koi is used to being as a frontline fragger playing Horizon. And for the record, this is not a problem unique to Koifel. Effect, who has much more experience, was having this exact same issue for European team Alliance, as they were also running the Bang Cat Conduit comp on Stormpoint. The issue is not the skill of these players, but rather the character's skill set itself, not necessarily enabling these talented fraggers to create openings for their team. And on top of that, Catalyst is a tough character to learn effectively. Some of the best controller players in the world have struggled in the early parts of learning her.
I just want to say, I've had multiple people tell me I was a goated Catalyst. Just saying. People I never even
when
knew.
TSM was initially trying her, they
Jumping
had
in my stream
Imperial
saying it
Hal
was
using
dope.
her, and he had a terrible time and was not very happy about it.
Like we already discussed, Cat is like you cannot practice Cat at all in ranked. It gains literally nothing. We literally have to literally struggle and just throw every tournament to slowly learn. We're learning, not like we already discussed.
Chillin, Perka, what's new with you, bro?
Ranked gains nothing. We cannot learn Cat correctly without playing tournaments. And how many tournaments do we play? We play 6 games out of a day. That's like 3 hours of learning, if that. I'm like tired of getting frustrated over something so fucking like.
I love these don't matter.
I don't even see the fucking potential of it.
Then they swap Verhulst onto her, and jokes were flying that Verhulst was a one-trick because initially the fit wasn't great, and previously he had been known as arguably the best Valkyrie player in the world. A lot of people have been criticizing Koifel this split, saying that he's been overextending and dying a lot for it, but Verhulst was having those exact same problems when he was learning Catalyst too.
It did not sound like he's playing Valk. He still has the mind of
The problem with playing fucking Catalyst is you have to forget everything you know in aggression, and you have to fucking be able to anchor your team. As much as I like to believe that Conduit's an anchor, Conduit should be like their IGL. Nocturnal should have been the one engaging fights, or just have Koifel stay on instead of Catalyst. Have him stay on fucking Horizon.
a Valk player when he's playing other characters, like jumping down on a fucking bangle, thinking that he could fly back up.
The issue that Verhulst had, that Koifel also I think had, is the characters they previously played enabled them to push forward further than a normal character would because they had movement abilities.
See, I struggle with that too sometimes.
Could get them out of those terrible spots. Those same positioning mistakes with Catalyst are not survivable. So we combine all of this from Cat being hard to learn and also not enabling Koifel to fry, and it's no wonder that they seemed off on Stormpoint. Another aspect of the awkward fit is that without Koi being the Horizon, this puts way more pressure on Nocturnal to open up fights as the Bangalore.
Exactly,
and
that's exactly what I was saying right there. That's exactly what I was saying. If that's the case, Nocturnal has to start fighting. But in ALGS, you can't have a controller, a mouse and key player be the
more reliant on gun skill than abilities to create those openings. Horizon just does it for free and can wreck an opposing team in so many ways. With no true entry fragger character being played, you have to be much more precise with the damage you do.
Not only that, but if you're not playing an entry fragger like that, you got to be able to
and capitalize
find yourself an end
and in the Conduit meta, that was one of the most difficult things to do because the moment you did damage, Conduit can wipe it out. We saw this affect some of the best fighting teams in the world, like an Oxygen or an Optic, who previously were so good at doing initial entry damage and capitalizing on it. All of a sudden, the pace of fights was so different that it was bound to affect a lot.
I kept throwing when Conduit first came out. I'd overextend.
A lot of teams, including Exit. To be clear, though, this is not me blaming Koifel for this. Once again, this is his first ever split of Pro League, and the best roller players in the world have had this same road bump. Exit eventually realizes this, and on match day 5, they put Koifel back on Horizon on Stormpoint, and the kill and damage output compared to his matches on Catalyst was a stark difference. It's a small sample size here of only 6 games on Catalyst to 3 on Horizon, so there are definitely other factors that can affect these numbers, I do admit that, but still, the difference is huge. Given time, I have no doubt that we'll see a player as talented as Koifel have a similar arc to that of Verhulst or Jen Burton, where eventually that weakness can become a strength, and we see him have incredible versatility in both roles and character pool. The character fit off-rip was just awkward.
What his problem is he has to learn how to play around his teammates instead of his teammates playing around him,
while the team was still building their chemistry with each other. But their issues were not solely related to the Conduit pick, because on World's Edge, they were very different as Koifel was rocking the Horizon, and yet somehow the team was actually statistically doing worse. On World's Edge, they land at SkyWest Trials. This is one of the best POIs on the map, but notably it forces the team landing here to play an Edge playstyle. That's not a bad thing, because you will have a loot advantage over most teams considering what's available at the POI, but rather uncharacteristically, Exit just wasn't able to play this way effectively. Over the 9 games played across World's Edge on the Season 19 patch, 7 of them were quite far away, meaning they were going to be one of the last teams arriving to zone. The best game across those 7 further zones was only 6 total points. No surprise that a team does better when they have prio, as their only double-digit game on World's Edge comes from a Lava Fissure zone, but once again, that inability to have even one really good game despite these far zones made them much more reliant on zone RNG. In terms of gameplay reasons for why they kept dying on these far zones, fights, it was often a combo of naturally a more clogged edge they're having to navigate, and then some random small mistakes compiling to their deaths. For quick examples, here's one from day 3 where
what they needed to do was run a rotate character.
Actually has a chance to win the game and have cleared out their edge successfully and have a great spot for the next zone, and then die to something really silly.
Bangle?
Yeah, bingo. They have bingoed up.
If they bangle, we have to lift, boy. We have to lift, okay?
Yep.
In here. I saw one. Yep. Oh, bangle. Or lift. I got shit on. I'm dead, bro. We have to lift.
Okay, got me. Right one.
Why did he throw his fucking Q over?
Bro, we had to live. Fuck.
Simply put, they just weren't prepared for the scenario of this happening, and it completely tanks their game. Let's check out another example from day 5, where once again it's a far southern pull, and Exit just doesn't effectively hold space on their edge, allowing a team to walk up on them for free.
Chilling. I can't do anything about it. Look, east.
Yeah,
Careful, V's.
Let me.
Careful, Alex.
Yeah. They're walking up, I think.
Stop the shooting. They're walking up, bro. What?
Give me knock.
Yeah, I am. Calling back.
Come back. Wait, fun, coming. Go storm.
Or another example from day 5, where we're getting another far south zone, and Xset is more so having to react to everything around them and kind of winging it, as opposed to really having a plan for what to do.
They're fighting west on high ground.
Yeah, I'm coming.
On me!
Yeah.
50, fucking!
One shot.
I'm bangling this. Careful, we can get mirrored from the north.
Yeah.
Just play there, I'm anchoring, go.
When did I think? I need to back up. I'm batting.
Find me north, I think. Find me the north. Can you scan this?
Go scan, 2 seconds.
Okay.
Scanning?
Yeah, here.
Come back to me.
We should play for ramp, I think.
Okay.
They're falling down. We have to fucking look at this.
Okay.
Why are they rotating that way?
We're gonna be on bridge. We got to match this.
No.
Yeah.
They're bang ulting. One on ult 2.
I remember this.
I'm going right.
They're running. Oh, no, they're not. Oh, God.
Chill.
And you get knocked here.
You need to
I remember this.
Rest me here.
This was the Euresis team he was fighting.
We need a bloom koi.
Yep.
I don't know if we can get this off.
That might be a bad
Tune up. They're shooting it. I need to jump off.
Okay. Fuck. We have to walk in on bridge team.
Yeah.
No, I'm dead. Stay alive. Stay alive. I got me a kill.
Pop the light behind you.
No, he just shot me on accident, brother.
Simply put, it just felt like every time the zone was really far and Xset didn't have the ability to claim a god spot and sit there throughout the game, whenever they had to constantly reposition and deal with a lot more teams on a clogged edge, it just felt like as a team they were a lot more disconnected and allowed one small minor mistake to completely derail their games. And those highs and lows lead us straight into problem number 2. I already showed off that Coifel stats were impacted by the Catalyst 2 Horizon change, but in general, Xset was pretty bad in Season 19. On World's Edge through 9 games, they averaged less than 5 points a game and only had 1 game inside the top 5. Stormpoint was better despite those issues, but still was not great as they averaged about 6.5 points a game. The difference between the two was just they seemed to have a much higher ceiling as they had multiple games inside the top 5 on Stormpoint, but this is where we see a problem that really stands out across their games. Xset had an extremely low floor and a pretty limited ceiling. Across the entire split, Xset has played a total of 43 games through 7 total match days. The first 3 match days were on Season 19's patch, where we already discussed they had issue with the comp they were running, not really fitting their strengths. The first match day, they placed 17th. They followed that up with a 6th and a 7th. Once Season 20 drops, Xset places 8th, 5th, 7th, and 15th. Your best match day being a 5th is rough when you compare that to every other team that ends ends up qualifying for LAN. Every single squad that made it to LAN has multiple top 5 match days, with at least one of them being inside the top 3. Once again, XSET only has one top 5 match day, and it was 5th. The reason that the top 3 is so important is that the scoring for ALGS match days is pretty linear, with the last place team getting 0 points, 19th gets 1, 18th gets 2, and so on. But once we reach the top 3, it is no longer linear, and there is a point increase for each spot. So that linear path takes us all the way to 4th at 16, but then at 3rd, we jump by 2 points instead of 1 to 18. 2nd, we jump by 3 to 21, and 1st, we jump by 4 to 25. The gap between a 1st place and a 5th place finish is 10 whole points, the same difference between dead last and 10th place. So you can see that EXA has a much lower ceiling than any of the teams they were competing for spots against, and this is shown even further in the games they actually played. When compared to every other LAN qualified team, EXA has only 4 games they finished inside the top 3, and those 4 games total to only 35 points. The next lowest is Cloud9 with 6 such games for 54 total points, while most other teams were significantly higher. But even for Cloud9, who has a similarly low ceiling despite it being 2 extra games for another 19 points, when they were hot, having a 2nd place, 4th place, and 5th place finish in their match days compared to XSET's lone solo 5th place finish. So although both XSET and Cloud9 did have that somewhat limited ceiling in terms of top placements in games, Cloud9 had a much higher floor and was able to more consistently put those mediocre and top tier games together to get those 3 different top 5 match days, to where XSET was a lot more consistently mediocre. They would have a couple bad games, a couple mediocre games, then maybe one game that all of a sudden saves the day at the end to put them inside of that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th range. And even with those finishes, they maybe could have gotten by if they didn't have the 15th and 17th different match days. The only other squads that qualify for LAN that have 2 similarly bad match days would be Oxygen and Furia, but both of them were able to offset it with a 1st place finish, which we already talked about is such a big difference maker. But the issue of living in that middle ground with low lows and no high highs to offset it leads us to problem number 3.
I don't think anybody supports the fucking new budget, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
There's been a bit of a reality check going on Twitter, and people are realizing that the WNBA players are not getting paid a lot of money. Nobody watches WNBA. Yeah, right. That's the reason why they're not getting paid. It's crazy for me to see how many people were mad about this. WNBA players have fought for more money, and they were outspoken. So many of them told us shut up. They had no value. The NBA had 50 years of investment. Weaponizing this information against WNBA players is another form of misogyny. That's right. God. The NBA subsidizes the WNBA? Yeah, they do. If they weren't getting paid to exist, then they wouldn't exist. There's a reason why it was really funny whenever Jadion rented out... Where is it? So he did this and everybody thought this shit was fucking hilarious, right? And it's obviously disrespectful, but we should definitely take into consideration the fact that he was able to buy that many front row seats right next to each other. Women's sports pay gap? Well, women's sports get paid less because less people watch them. It's the same reason why women's modeling gets paid more. And there's more popular women OnlyFans creators. That's just the way it is. This is another instance of Twitter coming to terms with the reality of biology. And this has been an enemy of Twitter for a long time.
Yeah, that fucking meme was gold.
Today we're talking about...
Bro, that fucking meme, bottomless pit, that shit was funny. That was the first time I've ever seen that. That was fucking gold. Bottomless pit. That was funny. Massive RuneScape drama.
This is apparently some drama.
Whole hour long? Can't watch that.
They're just on lifeline drone underneath.
I'm bad at
I'm gonna walk in here.
One's cracked. They just double me. I stuck one. I stuck one and cracked one, dude. I shit on them. They're running out. There's one out here healing.
Fuck it, I'm gonna play some Apex, man. Been a hot minute, chat. I'm starting a new stream. I'm gonna do a Apex stream. I'll catch you there. See you on the flip.